Palms come down, just kind of sensing again your body, bringing a little bit of breath into this movement here as we start to inhale. You can just gently rock your knees side to side as you exhale out. And this isn't paying attention to too many things, just kind of letting gravity help you as we inhale and then exhale out. Awesome. Let's stop that rocking, pushing the insides of your soles together, pushing your hands a little bit deeper into the mat, or into the floor rather, and then rolling the shoulders down your back. Cool. Take a nice deep inhale. Bring your palms upward facing for me as we squeeze on our exhale. And then rotate your palms as you inhale, push down. And then exhale, push all the way up. So in this position, think about opening up as we inhale, and then as we reweave, we ground into the mat and push the arms all the way up. I've got 2 more here. You can also imagine what your space feels like today, or what do you want it to feel like. And your last one. Awesome. Let's bring the soles of our feet back down on the floor, knees parallel to one another. Take a nice inhale here. And let's exhale, head, neck, and shoulders come a little bit off of the mat into your itchy Pilates position. Right hand and left hand behind your head, and let's start to walk a little bit. So let's take a nice inhale, flex the right and the left, and then take a step back, and then exhale it out. So essentially, you're walking just enough to notice that your legs are moving, but you're not really going anywhere. And if you feel like in the next few steps, you want to have your legs be a little bit longer and actually start to really stretch out, you may. As we continue for the next inhaling, and then exhale out. Good, you got 1 more last reach. So again, deciding how far away you want to go, how stable do you feel in the center. Awesome. Bring both feet a little bit closer towards you. Take a deep inhale here. And let's slowly open up the knees as you reach this right arm in between. And then exhale, circle the right arm open to a T-ish position. So we're inhaling, pushing down in towards the feet, opening the knees, and then squeezing back together. Now in this position, it's often challenging when you open your arm a little bit too wide, that perhaps like you want to wiggle or wobble. And if that's the case, that's fine. Just remind yourself that you may have to bring it a little bit smaller, make it a little bit closer to your body for the next 3. And using each push away to notice that your outer thighs start to get warm, and then as you magnetize and magnetize and magnetize the inner thighs back together, how that change of direction feels. Great, last one here. Super, slowly bringing your right hand behind your head. Let's float both knees in towards the center. And then grab a hold of your right leg. So left hand on your right knee, right hand on your right ankle. Open up your chest and keep that left leg nice and long. We're gonna inhale, stretch and bend, and then exhale, extend all the way up. So at the moment, I want you to think about using your right leg as your anchor point. You are pulling it a little bit towards you, but not gripping on too much. And feeling how that, excuse me, push down on your inhale, and then you can allow the exhale to unleash and unfold for the next 3. Slowly moving for 2. And then your last one here. Good, lowering that leg to a 45-degree angle. Take a nice deep inhale, and then slowly switching your legs for me, and then exhaling out. So remember, if at any point you feel like you need to support your head, you can just focus on the legs. Or if you need to bring your head, neck, and shoulders down, you do that as well. And we still keep the feeling of the shoulders off of the mat, releasing any tension from your face, closing your eyes if you need to. Great, one last full inhaling on both sides, and then that exhale. Great, back to the center, and then slowly melt your head, neck, and shoulders down on 3, 2, and 1. The soles of your feet go right back down on the floor, reaching the arms all the way up by your ears, and then circling around all the way, opening up your chest, reaching with your fingertips, head, neck, and shoulders come up and reach. Great, both hands come behind your head first, And then slowly opening your knees as you reach the left arm in between, and then opening up, circling to the T. So remember, that circle feeling is happening because the shoulder gets a little bit of stretch and mobility, but the support and the quiet still stays within the center. And you can change the shape, or rather you notice the change of shapes in your ribs as you inhale, and then bring it all back. Now, if you're not noticing a very big change in your ribs, that's totally fine. Everyone has different rib shapes. I happen to be quite ribby. It might make a very big change of direction, but even still, I have moments where I feel like they're kind of flaring out a little bit too much. So just be mindful of how you're breathing, right? We're trying to breathe sideways and then still really hug ourselves back into the middle for the next two. And your last reach. Cool. Both hands come behind your head for your support, and then you float both knees into your tabletop position. Left hand comes onto your left knee, right hand on your left ankle, and we stretch this right leg all the way out. So remember, you're hugging your left knee in. You're inhaling, bending and pushing, and then exhale, reaching up. So it's kind of like a bicycle feeling with this right leg. But it doesn't have to be such a huge bicycle. You can make it kind of mini if you want, but still focusing on keeping those knees parallel to one another. And remember, you may always put your head, neck, and shoulders down if it feels like it's too much. Great. We have another three. Reaching for two. And the full last one. Cool. Lowering that leg to a 45-degree angle. We inhale, pull on the left, and then gently switch to the right, and then exhale it out. So full left and right is an inhale. And maybe there's a gentle hold for a moment as you exhale it out. So I feel like it's much easier to exhale long than to inhale long, personally. Maybe you feel the same, maybe not. But just remember, you're doing the best that you can, and even if your inhale is like a 3 count instead of a 4, you can hold for like a hot second and then let it go. Great, last full breath. And then all the way out. Super, everyone. Knees coming to your center, and then melt your head, neck, and shoulders down on 3, 2, 1. Great. Soles of your feet come back down on the floor. Let's bring the palms down, open up your chest, and then melt into the floor as you peel your hips, your lower back, and then your middle back away. All right, let's start to make some nice big circles here again. So we're inhaling, circling the arms all the way around. And then on the way back, you're gonna lift up your right heel. So pushing the right heel down, lengthening the arms behind you as you inhale, circling around. And as you exhale, now lift up the left heel. Now, if you feel like your legs are too far away from you, feel free to bring them a little bit closer. So I don't want your heels going beyond your knees, like coming towards your body, but they can be directly underneath. Great, so remember this feeling of alternation as we lift one heel and reach the arms. And as you reach the arms behind you, you slowly float the heel down and then re-lift the other side on the exhale. Good, one more time on each side. Awesome. And then that full heel lift. Cool, and then finding your way all the way back down. Great, slowly bringing the arms up towards the ceiling and then bringing your palms facing each other, please. Super, slowly coming on down here for me, tapping your hips. And then exhale, floating into the right foot and left knee comes up. Grounding into the left foot, slowly tapping down. Exhale, grounding into the left foot and a right knee comes up. Now, as we do this, if you feel like, nope, I actually really need the support of the floor, please do so. Lifting the arms up gives you less support through the upper body, so just listen to what you need. And remember, we're trying to move downwards with the leg and the hips as slowly as we lift up. It's kind of easy to thrust yourself up, in my opinion, but that slowish feeling of lifting and then slowly lowering down is where the work also comes in. Good. We've got one more on each side. And then your last reach here. Cool. Putting the hands all the way down. Let's slowly melt your spine down, one vertebrae at a time. On 3, 2, and 1. Great. Hug your knees into your chest for a moment. And then slowly lift your head, neck, and shoulders again off. Cool. So let's grab onto the right leg as the left leg comes out to a nice long L. Excellent. And from here, we're slowly bringing the knee in towards the center and then lengthening it out. Okay, switching your legs for me. So you're finding a way to come in towards the middle, lengthen it out, and then switch. Now remember, you may notice that one leg feels a little bit more flexible than the other. Totally cool. And we're not interlacing the fingers behind the legs. It's almost like a finger tap, if at all. Great. And noticing where you're looking at. If you can keep your head, neck, and shoulders a little bit higher. If you need to come down a bit more, that's okay, but we're not coming up all the way, right? I don't want you to be up super, super high. Great, last one here. Great, bringing your knees back into the center, hands come behind your head. Let's bring your right leg on top of your left. And slowly and steadily reach out both legs kind of up towards the ceiling. You're gonna lower your legs to a 45-degree angle and then reach them back up. So this is like a small mini move with a lot of support. But I want you to feel how the back is not melting off of the floor, excuse me. And each time you come down, you may even notice that you can kind of create a little bit more length lowering down, and maybe not. Got 2 more. And your last one. Super. Straight away, left goes over the right, and start again a little bit slower and smaller. And if you always need to, you may put your head, neck, and shoulders down. This is never about how long you're making this or how big, but rather your feeling of control and knowing that you're moving yourself. Get 2 more. And your last lower. Super. Knees come back into the center. Soles of your feet go down on the floor. Let's reach the arms and then melt yourself down on 3, 2, and 1. Cool. Let's come over onto the right. Feeling kind of comfortable here. And reaching this right leg all the way out. Cool. Stretching the left leg. Again, coming all the way parallel from the hip, flexing it here. Let's inhale, kick this front leg, and then swing it all the way back. So just focusing on these single leg side kicks, which for me, again, is another really challenging exercise when you put together all of the moving parts. When you think about, all right, my hips are staying grounded, I'm not going anywhere, I'm still allowing for a feeling of reach to the left hip socket, but I know that I don't have anywhere to go. Great, we have 2 more. And then your last full reach. All right, so opening yourself a little bit wider if you can. Seeing if you can lift this side body off of the floor. Alexa, stop. Alexa, stop. Cool. Can you lift this side body off of the floor? If it feels too much pressure for your elbow, then find your way down. And slowly lift this left leg all the way to the front, circling into your rainbow. And then exhale back. Now, this extra lift just creates a little bit more feeling of engagement in the belly. But again, I don't want you to put too much pressure on your elbows. If it feels too much, just melt yourself back down. Okay. And this circular shape still happens from your belly, even if your legs are moving. And you can sense how big or how small you want to make it. If you want even less control or less support, you can always put your hands in a different position. If this feels good to put your hands on your hip to kind of keep the quiet and the sense of awareness, go for it. You can also reach your arm to another position here. And we have 1 more. And all the way back. Cool, let's melt ourselves all the way back down and slowly lifting your leg to a little bit of a higher angle. And from here, we're gonna bend the knee and then stretch it up. So thinking about almost angling your knee a little bit to an upwards diagonal so that your knee is not facing you, but facing a little bit away from you. Great. We've got 2 more like this. All right, let's push into the floor, lengthening up and pushing the bottom leg off of the mat. And then bending, tapping, and re-stretching. Okay, let's try that again. Inhale, prepare. Exhale, flex the bottom foot, lifting the bottom leg just a little bit off of the mat. And then bending, tapping with the top leg. And then returning. Cool, let's keep trying. Inhale, prepare. Exhale, engage the belly, push on up. Now, maybe you say this is a crazy big push, maybe not. Maybe you say, hey Danny, I don't want to push my leg up at all. Then don't. Inhale, prepare. And then exhale, use that breath. Use your hand and just float the leg up. Cool, and then we bend the left, tap behind us, still keeping those hips parallel, stretching up. And your last one here, inhale. Exhale, push. Super, finding your way back down, bending. And then slowly and steadily re-stretching on 3, 2, and 1, zipping up and pushing down all the way to the bottom. Cool. If you feel like you need to punch out your bum, by all means, go for it. All right, we're coming onto the back for a moment. Let's flex out both feet, reaching the arms all the way up by our ears. And let's take a nice deep inhale as we bring your arms up. And then we exhale, head, neck, and shoulders, lift, reach, 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 reach. Cool. So from this position, we're tucking our toes, bringing our hands underneath our knees, sitting up nice and tall, and slowly finding a mini hinge back. Cool. Reaching the arms again, nice and long in front of you, and then starting to bring them up to a little bit of a higher angle. I'm kind of feeling this running feeling recently. So today we're running at a slight hinge. You can also think about where you want your palms to go. So like there's no real right or wrong. You can almost just create a little bit of reach within your palms. Maybe you want to reach forward, maybe not. Just allow the feeling of like, okay, I feel my hips grounded on the floor. I know that my spine is long. I know that my belly is engaged and controlling and supporting me. And my arms have a feeling of extension all the way. Great, 2 more. And then your last one. Awesome, both arms all the way up to the ceiling, palms forward facing, and then reaching nice and long as we stack up on 3, 2, and 1. Cool, let's go to the left side. So sometimes I want you to be very detail oriented, or rather, I always want you to be aware, but sometimes it's in like, yes, I want a knee in a certain direction, but sometimes it's just like, just go with your flow. All right, so your hips are stacked, your hands are on the floor, your bottom left leg gets nice and flexed, and then you reach the right leg all the way out, directly parallel to the floor, extending out from your hips. Hands come on the floor, we inhale, flex, and let's start to slowly reach in front, and then exhale back. Now sensing how this hip feels, and not necessarily in comparison, right, to better or worse, just like, it feels similar, it feels different, I feel tighter or I feel more flexible, maybe you feel more in control on this side or less. Cool, and we have another 3. And that slow and steady kick, engaging as you come on back for 2. And your last one here. All right, so here's when we're lifting up a little bit more, fingertips in the floor. You're slowly tapping your toes in front. And then exhale back. Now, excuse me. If at any point your hip feels like, I'm just not into that, may always bend your knee, right? Like bending your knee kind of makes the move in itself a little bit less tense on the hip socket. So just listen. Hey, what can I do to continue to move without stressing my body, but still challenging myself in this nice, loving way? And that feeling of lift that's still happening from the side body without putting too much pressure in the elbow. Awesome, we've got 2 more. And then your last full reach. Awesome, slowly coming back down. And then lifting this right leg all the way up. So for now, we're just focusing on that bend of the diagonal and then the reach. So just being able to hold your leg in this nice lifted position. And feeling how the stretch can still happen through the back, even if you're activating different parts of your legs to hold. 2 more. And the last full range of motion. Hello, hips. All right, here we go. Pushing in on your inhale, flexing the bottom foot, and pushing into the mat to lift up the bottom leg. And then you bend the top knee, slowly tap it down behind you, still keeping your hips stacked. And then finding your way all the way back up to the center. Great, inhale, prepare. Exhale, push in and lift. Now remember what's happening, right? We're not trying to lift the shoulder at the same time, which often can happen. So we're trying to maintain that sense of openness as we inhale, prepare. Exhale, push into the mat, reach the left leg up. Now maybe it's even just like a millimeter lift, and that's also totally fine. Got 2 more full rounds. Inhale, prepare. Exhale, push in and hover. And then slowly bend and reach behind. Cool, last bit. Inhale, smile. And exhale, push. Great, and then bending as we reach behind here. And finding our way all the way back up. Awesome, slowly pushing down, allowing your body to just release. 3, 2, and 1. Awesome, let's come over onto our bellies. Feeling moving today. Moving, movable. Okay, so hands get stacked on top of each other. Can wiggle your hips out for a moment, and the toes are coming on the outer edge of the mat. So forehead gets glued onto your hands, and your hands are glued together. So we inhale, expand your rib cage. Exhale, float your head, neck, and shoulders up. Great. Inhale here, and then exhale, melt down. Now remember, when we lift, we're not using our back, essentially. We're using the feeling of the lift from the belly. So we inhale, prepare. You exhale, lift your belly button up, float on up, and hang out. Inhale, and then exhale, float back down. Okay, one more time like this. Inhale, prepare. Exhale, engage the belly and float up. Great, inhale, hold it, and exhale, come right back. All right, let's add some more. Inhale, prepare. Let's exhale, float the head, neck, and shoulders up. And if you're comfortable staying there, just starting to bring your arms behind you, palms upward facing. Let's think about pushing the arms up. And as you come down, we're pushing the legs up. So you inhale, push up the arms. Exhale, push up the legs. Now, if you feel like this is too much or you're compressing in your lower back, just think about alternating one leg and then the other instead of both at the same time. And if you still feel like that's too much, then you can always put your hands back down on the floor and focus on either both legs or one leg, whatever feels like this is where I'm meant to be for today. And if you can do the whole thing, then let's go for it. Inhaling, the arms come up. And then exhale the legs. Good, 2 more. And your last bit. Good, let's keep those legs there. Let's return the hands underneath you. And then slowly beat your heels together. And I say slowly because I don't want like a huge range of motion. But I do want your toes slightly turned out, and you notice that you can just squeeze together for the next 5. Exhale out. Inhale 4. And you can always push up a little bit higher with that upper body or come down a little bit lower depending on how you're feeling. You've got 3, 2, and 1. Super feet come down, put your hands underneath your shoulders, please. And then push yourself all the way back. So you can kind of really stretch this way. You can also come into like more of a full lengthened position. Cool. 3, 2, and 1. Awesome, everyone. Let's come over onto all fours. All right, right knee is going to be underneath your right hip, but the right leg comes out at a diagonal. Excellent. Opening up your chest here. Slowly floating this left leg all the way up. Cool. We're inhaling, tapping our left knee down towards the right foot, and then we're stretching it up. Now, stretching it up means either coming at the parallel position again, or maybe a little bit higher, but we're not moving the rest of us. And you can sense that there's a feeling of coming on in, and then tapping and reaching. Great. We have another 3. Reaching for 2. Remember that feeling of rotating the elbows back and keeping the belly lifted for 1. Cool. Slowly putting the left toes down. We're reaching this right arm all the way up. And on the way back, we're bringing the left knee towards the left arm. And then returning. Now, you still have the support of your right knee on the floor. You definitely can shift your weight forward a little bit if that helps, as well as a mini curl to the side. I do not want you to completely curl your spine though, right? I'm not looking for that. I'm looking for a feeling of complete and utter length, and maybe a mini internal lift and perhaps a small side bend. But remember, you also don't have to touch your knee to your arm. It can just be an intentional reach. Great, last time here. Cool. Now, inhaling, reaching this right arm up. And then exhaling, grounding through the left toes, pushing into the mat to stretch the right leg out to the side, and then return. So we move slow enough to notice what's happening. You still ground into the left as you reach the right one out. Now, if you feel like you need to tap your foot on the floor, you may do so. If your wrists are feeling tight, please feel free to come onto a fist position, or see if you want to come on to your forearms and just hold there. You might not be able to lift completely, but you can still hold. Great, last one here. All right, we're gonna put this right foot down on the floor. You can either put your toes or your whole foot, and then you lower the left knee down and lift it on up for 5. 4. Remember that feeling of pushing into the floor, reaching with the legs and the belly for 3, 2, and your last one. Super, bring everything back to the center, take a deep inhale, and then reach yourself all the way. Cool. Wiggling yourself out. Take a nice deep breath. And let's find our way onto the other side. So your left knee is underneath your left hip, and the left foot kind of comes at this diagonal feeling. Excellent. Take a nice inhale here. So you're slowly pushing up. And then reaching that leg all the way up. Great. Inhaling, coming on in. And then exhale up. And I think the other side was slightly different, but that's okay. We'll change it up. But still the feeling again of reaching into one side and noticing how the lower back is not compressing. Good, you've got one more here. Cool, let's stay now nice and quiet as we start again. Bringing our right knee down and then stretching and lifting. Now, my left knee is a little sensitive, so sometimes I need the extra support of the tucked toes on the left. You don't have to do it, but still notice where your range of motion begins and ends, and make sure you're working within that feeling of length. Cool, we've got 3 more. Smiling for 2. Spine is super long and happy, glutes are active, legs are long for 1. All right, here we go. So we're inhaling, slowly coming on up. Now, as we come back, the right knee comes towards the right leg, and then you return. Great, so we're inhaling, pushing up. And then exhale, just shifting enough. And remember, you can always come onto a fist, right? A fist feels sometimes a little bit challenging or more challenging in one way, but it also can just help to create a little bit of an extra additional angle feeling for the wrist dynamic. Just trying it out with you. Good, we've got 2 more. And remember, each time we move, it's still a feeling of being aware of how we feel at the moment and what feels good. Alrighty, let's start with this other leg reach. So you're inhaling, lifting on the left side, grounding through the right toes as you stretch the left leg out and return. And remember, you can always put the left leg completely on the floor. You can also just lift the knee if that full extension feels too much. 3 more. And even if something feels challenging, you think, okay, maybe I can't handle all of it right now, which is absolutely fine, but you definitely can handle some of it. So whether it's on the mat or not, just thinking about what can I handle right now, and then choose that. And your last extension here, good, putting either the left toes or the left foot on the floor, and then lowering the right knee and stretching it up for 5, 4. I know it's Monday morning. We still have to move. Got to infuse the day and the week with goodness. Great, everyone. Slowly come back. And then shift our weight all the way back. Alrighty, let's come over back onto our backs and finding our way into a nice open feeling for the shoulders and the arms. Yeah, and let's focus a little bit on like twisting for the moment. So your left foot is going to stay nice and grounded. Your right foot is coming all the way up to the ceiling. Super. From here, we're slowly going to bring the entire shape, left knee bent, right leg straight, all the way to the left side. You can look to the right if you'd like, but I would prefer you to look upward facing at this given moment. Oh, inhaling here. And then let's exhale, slowly lift the legs all the way up. As both hips hit the floor, you reach the left leg all the way up, and then you bend the right leg to find the way all the way to the right side. So remember, we're taking our time here. We're inhaling, stretching the left leg up, and when both hips hit the floor, your right leg extends all the way out. You bend your left, and then slowly rotate, bringing your right leg over to the side. So you just feel that there's a nice allowance of the upper body giving. We're taking a moment of rest. And the belly gets a nice little massage as you add a little bit of spinal mobility here, reaching and then switching. Awesome. Let's do one more on each side. And let's end over here all the way on the left. Cool. So let's bring the left knee on top of the right, and maybe you might need to adjust again. So ideally both shoulders are on the floor, but your hips are somewhat stacked. So if you feel like your right hip's a little bit further back, that's okay. But try to keep that feeling of I'm lifting both hips so that they are on top of each other. Go from here, we're slowly stretching out the right leg again, giving it a nice little flex. And let's make small little lifts. Now with these small little lifts, the feeling again is that you're not only using your legs, but you're still engaging your belly. And then you can slowly make the lifts a little bit higher. I still want the direction, or rather the intention of a small lift to stay the same, but you're still almost moving your leg a little bit higher. And when you feel like you've reached your maximum height, you slowly find your way back down, inhaling, and then exhaling out. Great. We have another 3, 2, and then find your way back to your starting point on 1. Super slowly bend your knees again, reaching your palms upward facing all the way towards the ceiling. Take a nice inhale, and let's exhale. Head, neck, and shoulders come all the way up. Hands come behind your head, and you're kind of already in a twisty position. You're gonna keep both of your knees together as you slowly lift both heels off of the floor and trying to keep your upper body. If you feel like you need more support, just put the bottom leg back down. We're opening the top knee and then squeezing it closed. So we're still trying to keep the upper body upward facing and forward facing, and just focusing on the lower half moving. So we inhale, open, and exhale, squeeze. Remember, you can always put the bottom left leg down for more support. It does help quite a lot. We have another 3, 2, and then your last reach. So we're slowly finding your way back to the center, and then melt down on 3, 2, and 1. Palms go all the way back out to your T. And let's bring everything back all the way into the middle, allowing your knees to flop open. Slowly and steadily rocking side to side, enjoying the breeze of the last day of September. And then finding your way back into the center as you float all the way over towards the right. And stretching out this left leg, giving it a nice little flex. And again, noticing, can you lengthen out a little bit more? Can you kick a little bit more? Can you open up your chest a tiny bit more while maintaining your shoulders melted into the mat? And we make many small lifts. Staying relatively close to the ground for now. And then just slowly starting to invite a feeling of lift and height, but still maintaining that small, controlled, airbrushing feeling of your leg. And when you feel like you've reached your top, you can slowly start to pulse. And I feel like it's like an eraser or like an airbrush. I feel like we're not eliminating things, we're adding beautiful things here in this one. And you have another 3, 2, and then you slowly find your way all the way back to the bottom of 1. Both knees get stacked, palms come upward facing. Take an inhale, and then exhale, head, neck, and shoulders come off, hands behind your head. So remember, you can always keep the bottom leg on the floor. If not, seeing if you can float both legs off of the floor, upper body still stays twisted forward. And you're opening only the top knee as you exhale, squeeze. So we inhale, open, and exhale back. Great, and feeling how you can stay lifted, even if your left hip is slightly behind your right. They can't be completely stacked in this position. And we have another 4. And opening through the chest for 3. I'm trying to feel a sense of quiet for 2. And then your last one. Super slowly come all the way back down, and then allow your knees to open, and finding your space here for 3, 2, and 1. Great. Slowly and steadily bringing your knees back to the center, reaching your arms all the way up, and then lengthening your right leg and your left leg as you exhale. Head, neck, and shoulders come all the way to a nice tall seated position. Cool. So let's come over onto our shoulder vibes and hang out here. So you're gonna ground through your right foot. You're opening up. So remember, we're not just cozy, we're very, very active. Pushing into the floor, opening up your chest. Pointing your left toes. Let's start moving. Inhale, prepare. We're exhaling, lifting our hips up, reaching the left leg up, and then lowering it down. Now, if you already feel like this is too much, you may always just bend your knee instead. But if you feel like you can push up a little bit, lift and reach, and then slowly find your way back down, that would be awesome. Inhaling, lift, exhale over. 3 more. And there's so many parts here moving, right? We're not just lifting from the leg, you're using your belly and your arms for 2. And your last one here, staying lifted. Let's bend and tap for 5. Gazing down as you hold for 4. If you need to put your hips down, put your hips down for 3, 2, and 1. Super, put your both feet next to each other and then melt your spine down. 3, 2, and 1. Take your right foot, walk 1 step away with your left. Push into the mat, stretching up your spine and then allowing your arms to reach all the way, giving them a nice little wave. Cool, slowly and steadily here. Let's hinge back 1 vertebrae at a time again, and then float your knees into a tabletop position. Cool. Inhaling, twisting towards the right, and then exhaling left. Now, in this holding position, if you feel again you want to put your feet back down on the floor, please do so. We've got a feeling of twist and reach, and then come on back. 2 more. And your last moment. Good, slowly and steadily put your feet back down. And let's curl down, gazing at your belly, 1 vertebrae at a time on 3, 2, and 1. Stretching out both legs for me here. Inhaling, the arms come up. Exhale, head, neck, and shoulders follow, and you find your nice tall seated position. Cool. Bringing your arms behind you and then leaning back down. Cool. This time you're rounding your left foot, pointing the right toes, opening up your chest. Inhale, preparing, and then exhale, hips come up and lift. And then slowly lower down. Remember, you can always just bend your knee if that feels better instead of the full straight leg. But what I want us to think about here is what's happening with the hips, right? So if the hips are essentially lifting together. So if you notice that your right hip is like kind of dipping, seeing if you can really focus on keeping them very nice and quiet and balanced. 2 more. Last time you're holding, and we slowly tap and reach for 5. Opening up the chest for 4. Rounding through the toes for 3. Happy moments for 2. Last one for 1. Super, both feet come down slowly and steadily. Bring your hips down, right foot and left, ground into the floor, and then stack up. 3, 2, and 1. Reaching all the way here. And then slowly hinging back again for me, and then floating the knees off the floor, pointing your toes. Let's start with the left as you inhale, twist, and then exhale, reach. And remember that feeling of letting your palms here kind of go where they want. So I want your spine to be long and twisty, your core to be engaged, but your arms can really find that palm extension that feels good for the next 2. And your last final reach. Super, soles of your feet come on your floor, and then melt down for me all the way on 3, 2, and 1. Great. Inhaling, prepare. Let's exhale, circle your hands around, head, neck, and shoulders come up, arms come behind your head. And let's start to add a nice little twist. So your left leg is going to go out all the way. Your right knee comes in towards the center, and we start on our neutral position. And then we twist towards the right and come on back. Now at the moment, the left leg is staying on the floor. If you feel like this is too much for your back, or that your back is melting away from the mat, feel free to bring your left heel into the floor. Or if again, if the stretch away feels too awkward, come back a little bit closer. So you inhale, reach, and then exhale, return. Good, 2 more. And your last one here. Cool, let's hover this left leg off the floor. Inhale, reach, and then return for 5. And remember, you can always put the left foot back down on the floor if you need to. You can always put your heel back down for 3. If not, seeing if you can keep the hover for 2. And then your last one. Super, right foot comes down, left foot comes down, take a deep breath. And then slowly and steadily melting your spine down on 3, 2, 1. Let's gaze at the right for a moment. And then gaze towards the left. Allowing your hands to walk a little bit closer to your toes as you inhale. And then exhale. Alrighty, finding your way back to the center, reaching your arms up towards the ceiling. And then exhale, head, neck, and shoulders come up. Great, hands come behind your head, stretching out the right leg all the way. And then floating your left knee into a tabletop. So you inhale, twist towards the left. And then exhale, return. So on this side, the same thing applies. If you notice that your hips are unstable or your back is floating away from the mat, then feel free to just adjust your bottom right leg, bringing it closer. Or putting the heel in the ground or your entire foot. But allowing this feeling of twist and reach to be enjoyable. It's the last day of September, so whatever no longer wants to be brought with you into October, now's a great time to just sense that and maybe let it go. Good, last 2. And your last full reach. Cool, floating the right leg off the floor. We've got 5, not 8. I think 5 is enough. And 4. Remember, you're challenging yourself here to stay quiet as you twist and reach. Still hard for me too, for 2. And your last one. Super, everything comes back down to the center. Soles of your feet back down together, reaching your arms and then melting your spine down. 3, 2, 1, palms go down. And walking again, your hands a little bit closer to your feet as you inhale to the left. And then exhale out. One more time on each side. And all the way out. Alrighty, slowly and steadily extending both of your legs out. Arms come all the way up towards the ceiling, inhaling. And then exhale, roll on up or walk yourself up for 3, 2, and 1. Cool. Let's come over onto the left side. All right, so be mindful of how your shoulders feel. So ideally, I want your elbow on the left to be rotating towards you, but sometimes it creates like a little bit of too much tension in the tricep. So please just be aware of how that feels, yeah? So you're reaching the right arm in front of you, and then we're slowly twisting behind us, adding that feeling. And then as we come back, you're reaching in front of you, bending the left elbow and stretching the right leg. So again, we're not making this like huge bend in the left elbow, but enough that I want you to notice that you are adjusting your positioning. So if this doesn't feel correct, you may adjust your elbow, or rather where your hand is, for the next 3. And thinking about that full feeling of hips on the floor, opening your chest and then reaching and bending for 2. And your last one for 1. Cool. Slowly come back to the center, take a deep breath. Great, then lengthen. Lengthen and walk your hand a little bit further away. And again, this time your elbow is still coming direction hip, but we're gonna try and tap the floor, okay? So you're reaching this right arm in front. We're slowly coming behind us with that twist. And now lengthening, trying to tap as we reach, and then use that full arm to come back. So you notice how the full range of motion happens, depending on how you feel. We have 3 more. And that full feeling of keeping your hips quiet as you engage your belly. Your last 2. And then your last one. Let's hang out here for a moment, everyone. Good. Palms come down. You can gaze down at the floor if you need to. You're bringing your arm all the way to the side. Yeah, let's make it a T. Good. hand comes behind your head, and then we slowly bend and reach. So you keep the opposition feeling of reaching and bending. Now, we're still not cozy, right? We still have this sense of lift. You can also adjust your hand to come into a nice 90-degree angle if that feels better. But if you can stay here, we're just trying to create new space for our arms and body for the next 2. And super slowly and steadily find your way all the way back. And then reach. Cool. Let's go to the other side. Alrighty, so finding a cozy moment first, and just this little lean, right? First, a little lean. Elbow still is coming back towards your hip, so adjust as you need to, right? You should feel your triceps, but it shouldn't feel like, ooh. All right, left arm comes all the way forward facing. So we're twisting to that back left, and then just bending a little bit as you reach. Good, and you stretch up the right. You can almost think of this as how much space can I create in my upper body as I open and twist. And I still want my spine to be long. I still want to feel my fingertips and my toes. Cool, 2 more. And then your last reach here. Cool. So now we lengthen and walk the right hand a little bit further away, still bending, but trying to come down to the floor. So if you feel again that that's not where you're at, that's totally fine. But if you can bring the whole elbow down, let's do it. Now there is a slight angular feeling here with that arm, right? And that's okay. But choosing to be in this space and using the arm and the side body with your breath to twist for the next 2. Hello, inner arms and triceps. Your last full one. And then we're gonna hang out here. So remember, you can always put your hand in a 90-degree angle or stay here. Hand comes behind your head, and then we reach. Good, so you're bending here and then stretching. So you're trying to find a feeling of opposition between your arms and your legs. You can also look down at the floor if that feels better, but finding that push away from the floor as we slowly inhale and then exhale, push away for 3, 2, and then your last full one. Awesome. Finding your way all the way back up. And let's just cross our legs for a moment. Giving our arms a little bit of a stretch so you can reach the right arm or the left arm in front first. And so my left arm is in front and my right hand is kind of pulling, so I'm twisting a little bit towards the right. And then finding your way back. Good, and then bending the elbow, bringing the left hand in between the vertebrae, or rather in between your shoulder blades, kind of like on your vertebrae stretching. And then finding your way back onto the other side. So right arm or left arm comes in front, and then you're twisting towards the side where your hand is. And then slowly finding your way back as you bring the arm up and above. Holding here for a moment. And then slowly finding your way back. Awesome. Almost done. Inhaling here. Putting your hands underneath your knees, sitting up nice and tall for me. And let's float the knees into a nice tabletop position. Cool. From here, you're gonna curl your back, roll to the tips of your shoulder blades, and then find your way back up. So we inhale, come to the tips of our shoulder blades, and then exhale out. Good, 1 more like this. All right, this time on the way up, you're gonna stretch out your right leg. And then come right back and stretch out your left. So you're allowed to put your toes on the floor of the opposite foot for support, but try to keep the toe tap as minimally grounded as possible. It's just like a small reminder. And if you want to try to do it without the toe tap, just give it a try. The worst thing that happens is that you put your foot down. You got one more on each side. And then your last one. Super, hands underneath your knees, open up your chest, hinge back, and then stretch up your legs for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Super. Feet on the floor, everyone, hang nice and long. Let's heel toe to the outer edges of our mat, bending one knee and then the other. And here's where we say yes to everything that fits our vision of what we'd like our life to be, and we actively say no to everything else. And we take a nice inhale. And then exhale, slowly roll on up on 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1.